Hi everybody, I'm Donnie Reed. Welcome to the Baker Airguns Quick Look. Although today, this is going to be a long look, a complete look at the Daystate Wolverine R Hilite. What you're looking at is my Daystate Wolverine R Hilite. This is the standard power version in 177 caliber. Working at Baker Airguns affords me the opportunity of shooting a lot of air guns. Pretty much whatever you can think of, comes through the shop, old or new. And I shoot field target, and I have developed over last season a list of needs, a list of wants, what I want in my perfect air rifle. Now, I definitely want the ability to shoot an entire match, hopefully including my practice shots, without having to refill the gun. I don't want to have to refill the gun. I just prefer that to avoid that complexity. It's not a big deal if you have to carry a bottle around, but I'd rather not. And this gun affords me the opportunity to do that. I also wanted a very tight shot string. I wanted a regulated gun, both to make sure I'm getting the maximum use of the air in the cylinder and to help shrink the extreme spread over my entire shot string to the extent that I can, And the other things were an excellent trigger. I definitely wanted an excellent trigger. I definitely wanted a side lever, a nice smooth side lever. I wanted something with an adjustable stock, and most of all, I wanted an accurate gun, a superbly accurate gun. And after trying a lot of air guns, I found what I was looking for. What I didn't know when I started looking is that it would be in such an attractive package. I give you the Daystate Wolverine R Hilite. This is what I settled on, and there's a million reasons for that. This gun is the walnut version. This has a one-piece walnut stock. This is made by Manelli in Italy. It has the 3D adjustable butt pad, and this is a regulated gun. This has a HUMA regulator. Thus the R designation for the gun. The gun's available in 177, 22, 25, and 303. It's available in a high power version in everything except 303 with a regulator. There is a 303 HP, but it doesn't have the HUMA regulator. Now the regulated Wolverine 303 R produces about 60 foot-pounds of energy at 55 shots, mind you. That's incredible. That's a lot of shots. Now in my gun, in the 177 caliber, now this is, I've switched pellets. We'll get more to that later. But using my old pellet, the JSB Old Monster 13.43 grain pellets, I tested this a couple of times, and from a full fill with unsorted pellets right out of the tin, I got precisely 160 shots on the regulator before the velocity fell off the regulator at 150 bar is where it's set. And you can tell there's two gauges, a fill gauge and a regulator pressure gauge. Mine's at 150 bar, and the Harper slingshot system in here does an excellent job of using up the air with the regulator. It's superb. Like I said, I get 160 shots, and this, mind you, is with an extreme spread with unsorted pellets of 15 feet per second on average. 15 feet per second. If you use sorted pellets, that's closer to 10 feet per second. Now, the Daystate Wolverine R is the most consistent gun I've ever tested, and I mean that in a sense of velocity while on the regulator, on the regulated pressure. An extreme spread of 15 feet per second, that's incredible. Please forgive me, there's a lot of bugs out here at this beautifully picturesque location. Now, I've extensively shot the 22 version of this gun, as well as the 303, not the 25 as much, but still, you can trust what the Daystate website says when it comes to the power they will produce and the shots that you'll get per fill. The Wolverine R comes with a wonderful, fully adjustable, 2-stage trigger, straight from the factory. And when you get it, you'll find a nice, easy, distinct first stage, a solid wall when you approach the second stage. And when you're at the second, you just add more pressure. The second stage doesn't really move appreciably, at least noticeably. And it's a solid wall, crisp break, very light, about 1.5 pounds. Now, I set mine a little lower. I set it at about 1 pound, and everything else was the same, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, this is adjustable to user preferences. It's fully adjustable. Now, the side lever is very smooth, easy to use. See, no effort, no effort. And you want to talk about a quiet gun? Mine is a 20 foot-pound 177 full power. Yep, it went off. There's no pellets in it, but that's how loud it is. And you can see the trigger. Smooth, easy first stage. Solid wall. Just add more pressure. Bang. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, the magazines for the gun are very simple, very easy to use. Every caliber ships with both a single shot tray and a magazine, except for the 303. The 303, you get a magazine only. There is no factory available 303 single shot tray, unfortunately. However, I had a lot of success just loading them right into the Breech without any tray or magazine whatsoever. The Daystate magazines are reliable, they're easy to use. You can switch which side of the gun they load from. You can also switch the side lever to either side. That's outlined in the manual, how to do that. It's very simple and easy to use. The safety is at the very rear of the action, making this a truly ambidextrous gun. Yay, lefties. Oh. As I mentioned before, and what is pretty obvious, is my gun is the walnut version. You can tell I have added a bipod, and that's via a Picatinny rail section that I've attached to the gun myself. It does not come like that. I've also added some sling swivels for my sling, and it was a very simple modification to do. It's very self-explanatory if you'd like to do it yourself. This is also available in the same exact thumb hole stock, same design, in both a gray laminate and a green laminate. It's called the Forester version, the green laminate, and they're both beautiful, wonderful guns. Myself, I'd love to see this come out in the same blue midnight stock as the Red Wolf Midnight. Now, that's a pipe dream. I haven't heard anything about this. I've never heard of they're going to make one. I would just really, really like to have one. If you ever do, put me on the list. I want one. Well, another one. Again, these stocks are all made by Minelli in Italy. They have the signature Minelli 3D adjustable butt pad, up, down, left, right, however you want it. It's a wonderfully adjustable system. The comb of the stock is symmetrical, meaning equal on both sides, and both righties and lefties find this incredibly comfortable. I don't find any need for an adjustable comb with all the adjustment you get in the butt pad. The standard power version has a 17-inch Lothar Walther barrel and weighs in at about 7.5 pounds without a scope or anything. The HP version has a 23-inch barrel and weighs about 8 pounds. Now, the overall lengths for the guns are about 38 inches for the standard power. That's not to include the Huggett moderator, which is included and permanently attached to the full-length shroud. These Lothar Walther barrels are fully floated and incredibly rigid. The system in here that attaches the barrel to the breech is very stout, and there is no appreciable flex in the barrel. You can't easily move it without bending it, I would assume. As you heard earlier, my 177 is nearly silent with this Huggett moderator. The 22 is barely louder than this. The 25 barely louder than that. The 303 a little louder than that, of course. Any of these are well moderated guns. None of them are exceptionally loud or anything like that. And the lower powered versions are perfectly backyard friendly. And now, more about the barrel. These are Lothar Walther barrels, and in my 177 we have a 17-inch version. And when I said in my opening remarks that I wanted a superbly accurate gun, I meant it. And what I meant was MOA accuracy or better to a minimum of 55 yards. I unquestionably get that from my 177. As you can see by my windicator here, it's very windy around here where I shoot. I shoot actually a little bit in that direction, but it's always windy. It's very windy. And if you can hold a 1 MOA, about a half-inch group at 50 yards, hopefully the same at 55, then you're doing pretty good. The Daystate Wolverine R does that with ease. As you'll see in these groups, I'm starting here at 30 yards with my 177 version, and this will just stack pellets pretty much regardless of the wind. I'm using the JSB 10.3 grain pellets here, and literally it will stack them on top of each other. Any deviation you see is me or the wind, and it's barely any to speak of in the first place. As you can see in these 50-yard groups, again, I'm using my 177 Wolverine R, and the first group is with the 13.43 grain JSB Old Monster, the old design. And you can see it's not a great group. I'd say bigger than a half-inch, probably not 3/4 of an inch, but not spectacular, but pretty close to MOA. But I switch and I tried the Air Arms 10.3 grain pellets, the field heavies, and I had better results. So I tried a smaller group of 3 or 4, I believe 4 shots, and that one was less than a half of an inch. And with the wind, I was waiting for what looked like similar wind conditions because it was variable when I was shooting. So I just waited till it looked like it was at the same point each time I pulled the trigger, and that was less than a half of an inch, and that's what I expect. Again, I'm going to switch and use that Air Arms Field Heavy pellet in this now. But the larger caliber versions are even more accurate than that. I extensively tested the JSB Hades pellet with a 22 version standard power, and the results were spectacular. There's another video I did on the Hades pellet. You can watch that. I'll link it. You can see the accuracy groups from that testing in there, and it's spectacular. It's match grade. They're very good pellets, and they're a good match from one another, from what I can tell. The Wolverine R and the Hades pellets, both of which you can get from BakerAirguns.com. Now the Wolverine 303, at 50 yards, it just stacks pellets. I apologize, I don't have any footage of that. I don't understand what happened to it. I thought I had it, can't find it. But it will stack 44.75 grain JSBs at 50 yards. That's more of a 100-yard gun, the 303, it really is. Now, in my opinion, what the Wolverine R Hilite has to offer is the equal or better of any other rifle in its class. That's why I shoot it. At some point that becomes preference, but this is the decision I made. This is what I shoot. It does offer something that some of the other guns don't, in my opinion, again. And this is something that's very hard to quantify, and that is the feel of the gun. When you hold a Daystate Wolverine R, it is akin to sitting in a fine German automobile, luxury car, top of the line deal, or riding in first class, or drinking an expensive single malt scotch. As silly as that might sound, it's true. The gun feels good. This gun, you'll have to look at the prices, but they're not a cheap item. And sure, you could get away with a cheaper gun. It does the same thing. You can get away with a cheaper drink, a cheaper car, a cheaper flight. But if you can't afford it, it is worth the difference. You can feel a difference. This feels like it costs as much as it does. And I don't try to make excuses for it. I'm telling you about the legitimate experience of owning and shooting one. I thank you for watching. You can find these on bakerairguns.com. I'm shooting the Aztec Emerald First Focal Plane scope on here. I absolutely love it. Again, the bipod, the rail, the sling swivel, the sling, the fancy blue yarn windicator. These are not standard items. I have added these. And this is a good platform for modification. It doesn't take much. It's wood, you know. So again, I thank you for watching. I hope this has been informative and helpful. And be sure to subscribe, click the bell, like, share with your friends. And thanks again. Stay tuned, stay safe, and happy shooting.
Hi, I'm Dennis Baker with Baker Airguns. Thanks for stopping by. Click the link below.